Good morning. I might get rained on this morning and it's a little cool and breezy, but I prefer that to hot and humid. So today I'm gonna do the max stack shoe battle. So I'm starting with a shoe that I really don't like, that a lot of people really do like, which is the Glycerin Max. And I've just found this shoe just kind of blocky and heavy and not as soft as I thought it would be. Doesn't have a ton of energy return. So it's just wearing a big shoe for the sake of wearing a big shoe to me. So we'll see if it changes my mind at all today, but I doubt that's gonna happen. But I kind of wanted to do this one first just to warm up and then appreciate the other shoes more as I run in them. So coming up after this one, I'm gonna run in the Puma magmax. Then I'll run in the Vomero Plus, the Superblast 2, and close with the new Megablast. So 1 mile down in the Glycerin Max. I think I did that in about an 8:08. So still actually a little bit fast for an easy pace for me. Really what I'm trying to do here is just run 1 mile in each shoe at a comfortable pace, like what feels right in the shoe where it wants me to be without pushing too hard. The pros I will say for this shoe, very comfortable upper. It's a soft, plush upper, really padded tongue, really padded around the heel collar. So a lot of comfort in the upper from this shoe. My big problem though is that massive stack has no energy return. So it has a firmness to it, and the shape of the rocker does allow you to actually kind of run surprisingly fast in this for the size of the shoe that it is. Being firm and having that rocker geometry, you're able to turn it over easier than you would be with a lot of shoes of this size. So you can kind of run fast in it, but not tempo paces. But this is also not what I'm looking for in a max cushion shoe. I don't need this shoe to be stiff and fast. I want it to be soft and comfortable and bouncy. So I'm just not getting that from this shoe. It's almost like I have a block of wood on the bottom of a really comfortable upper. So I can push off that wood with the way that it's sculpted, but it's just not giving me a lot of bounce. It's not giving me a lot of energy return. I just really don't like the feel of running in this shoe. And now's an important time to talk about facts and opinions again. Fact, this is a max stack shoe. Fact, it has a comfortable upper. Opinion, I don't like it. So other people may love this shoe, it's not for me. Now I have immediately upgraded my max stack experience by stepping into the Puma magmax. These up until recently have been my favorite shoe in this category. We'll see if anybody can take them down today. But this one immediately has a more narrow upper, but I actually prefer that. It fits my foot better. And the foam that's in this shoe, the nitro foam, just has so much more bounce than the Brooks shoe. So the foam itself is still on the dense side, but nowhere near as dense as that one. And I'm getting a lot more energy return from this over the runs I've done it in the past. So let's see how it does for me today. Now that's what I'm talking about. That mile I think was like a 7:38. And again, I'm not trying to push hard here, but man, these feel so much more energetic. Like energy return, bounce, this shoe compared to the Glycerin, these are like 20 times bouncier. They feel lighter, they feel more energetic. They just feel almost like a tempo shoe compared to the Glycerin Max. It's funny because a lot of times I'll wear like a larger, heavier shoe to warm up and then switch to a carbon shoe if I'm doing like a really fast interval. That's what it felt like I just did here. Like, not like these are a carbon shoe, but man, are they faster than the Glycerin Max. And again, it's a dense foam, so it has a lot of bounce, but it doesn't feel too soft. These are like a perfect consistency to just tick along at easy pace, but they can also get into that kind of mid pace to me, like zone 3 running. These are excellent at that. So Glycerin Max versus Puma, just I want to throw those in the fire. Anybody want to buy a lightly used pair of Glycerin Max in a size 12? Let me know in the comments. All right, now this should start to get interesting for me. Still hate the Glycerin Max, still love the magmax. Now I'm wearing the Vomero Plus, which is a shoe that I got very recently. Have a few runs in. I'll double check how many miles. I'll say that in each shoe later in the video when I get back home. But these ones have Zoom X in them, a full midsole Zoom X, a lot of bounce from the shoe. I have to check the weight of the magmax to this, how they compare, but they have a similar kind of feeling, but I haven't actually run in them one after the other yet. So this will be interesting, having just run in the magmax to switch to this one to see how these two compare. All right, something that's unintentionally happening here today is this is turning into a progression run. I think that was like a 7:31. Right now I just feel really warmed up and great, like I got endorphins flowing already, which is strange this early in a run. So I kind of just want to go for it a little bit more. But the Zoom X in this shoe is pulling its inner Breakfast Club and saying, don't you forget about me. I'm the original Super Foam. Although it's not, because this is not the Puma based Zoom X. This is I think TPE based in this shoe as opposed to their racing shoes. But also super comfortable upper, really bouncy shoe. This one and the Puma deliver that bounce in a different way though. I think the Puma, I like the geometry of it better. It feels more stable, it feels more smooth, and it just kind of glides you through your step. Like I feel like the foam's like compressing with me and rebounding with me and just like rhythmically going through my stride. Whereas this one's just like bam, bam. Every time your foot hits the ground, it explodes up. So it's inherently less stable because whichever way you land, it's almost like the Zoom X comes in and bounces back that direction. So if you're a little squirrely with your foot strike, it's gonna feel that way as well. But also for those who haven't watched a ton of videos on my channel, I'm a very big guy for a runner. I'm 6'4", 240 pounds. I'm not overweight, I just go to the gym and I don't just only run. So, but I weigh like 100 pounds more than a lot of people who are testing these shoes. So I can give a perspective of a larger runner to some of these as opposed to a lot of the other reviewers that are smaller than me. But also putting my weight into these feels great. Like the harder I step down, the more power I'm getting back from the shoe. So this is another max cushion shoe that has a lot of bounce and can actually run a little bit fast as well because it's so explosive. So on to the Superblast 2, and these are immediately confusing me when I put them on my feet. These feel so light compared to the Vomero Plus. It feels like I'm not even wearing a shoe. Like they're light and airy, but I know from running in these 100+ miles that this shoe has a firmer foam that's more speedy. So these are like firmer, faster, lighter. It's kind of what you're getting from the Superblast 2. So I found these to be great for like marathon pace long runs or long runs where you want to put some pace into them. These can really kind of pick up the pace better than a lot of other shoes in this category. So let's see how they do today. Somehow that was still faster. I think I ran a 7:28. But my heart rate was in the 180s at the end there. I donated blood 2 days ago, so I just don't have my full fitness at the moment. So, you know, I still feel fine when I'm running. It's just my heart rate is higher than it should be for the paces that I'm running. So got one to go, and immediately putting these on, so different. Like right now I'd group these into 3 groups. The Glycerin Max, just goodbye. The magmax and the Vomero Plus both have that soft upper, really bouncy, assistive kind of feeling to them. This one, when I first started running in it, I was turning it over so fast it felt like I wasn't even wearing a shoe. The difference in lightness was amazing. But a big pro or con to the Superblast, depending on what you're looking for in the shoe and what you're trying to use it for, is that firmness in the midsole. It doesn't feel as thick and blocky as the Glycerin Max. It does give you a little bit more energy return than that shoe too, because that shoe is giving me no energy return. But with the Superblast, it's basically like making you do the work. It's light, it's easy to turn over. It has a good geometry where it's very stable and direct, but I'm just not getting a ton of bounce from it. So it helps you to run fast, but it's not as assistive as those really bouncy shoes like the magmax and the Vomero Plus. It lacks the bounce of those shoes, but it's lighter, more direct, better, more speedy, more stable. So now the question to be asked here with the Megablast is, this is the lightest shoe of the whole bunch. I think it's about an ounce lighter than the Superblast 2. And the type of foam that's in it is much more bouncy than the type of foam that's in the Superblast 2. So could this be combining those two kind of styles of shoe to get the best one yet? We'll see. But what I'm hoping for is I'm getting some of that bounce and propulsiveness that I get from the magmax and the Vomero Plus, but the lightness, the speediness of the Superblast 2. So we'll see how the Megablast does now. Somehow that last mile was a 7:13. I don't know how that happened. That felt bad. Like I was feeling tired. My heart rate's been elevated this whole time, but definitely having the effects of donating blood. I think I was in like the 180s that entire time, and I didn't feel like I was pushing hard. I didn't feel like I had a lot in me, and yet I went the fastest. So interestingly, I was gonna say, just the way that they were feeling, that for full out speed, I'd still go Superblast 2. The firmness, it felt more powerful when I was running in it, but I guess, you know, 30% more energy return and Flight Foam Turbo Plus is what Asics advertises with this shoe. I guess that 30% more energy return resulted in some more speed for me. Just the way that they feel though, weight wise, I couldn't tell a difference. I think this is about an ounce lighter. Didn't feel significantly lighter than the Superblast 2, but the feel of the midsole while you're running is very different. Superblast feels much more direct, more stable. These feel a little bit more unstable. Not that they're not an unstable shoe, but they're less stable than the Superblast because of the softness of the foam. Any foam that's this soft and bouncy is gonna be a little bit more squirrely. And the midsole travels more, so as you're landing, it's got to compress and come back to give you that energy return. So I feel like it slows down my cadence. Like I wasn't taking as quick steps. It wasn't as easy for me to have a high cadence in this shoe as it is in the Superblast, but I guess it was paying off for that lack of cadence with more energy return, because I really did not feel like I was going as fast as I was. So that was kind of going to be my conclusion at the end of this, was I really like the feel of these. It's soft and bouncy, but the Superblast is faster. I can't actually say that. The category of max stack running shoes has really been growing over the last few years. Every brand is putting out a shoe with high stack, with bouncy foam. And one thing that happens with all these shoes is the price is also very high as well. Kind of the advent of this super trainer. We got super shoes, we got super trainers, but the question is, if everything's super, is anything super? But one thing that I've really noticed with these max stack shoes is they have very different personalities. Just because a shoe has a high stack doesn't mean it's going to be soft, doesn't mean it's going to be bouncy. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Some of them are good as recovery shoes, some of them are more speed focused. So just looking at a shoe and looking at the stack height, it's not necessarily going to tell you what you're going to get from that shoe. So let me put the stats up on the screen comparing these shoes. I just put this in a quick chart. So the Glycerin, but one thing that I actually noticed too, the order that I ran them in is actually the weight. Each mile rep that I did, I was getting slightly faster. The shoes were actually getting slightly lighter that whole time as well. I knew that the Megablast and the Superblast were the lightest too, but I didn't really know the weights of the other ones. It just kind of happened that way. But the Glycerin Max and magmax are almost the same weight, 12.56 ounces versus 12.39, or 356 versus 351 grams. So only a 5 gram difference between those two shoes. Glycerin Max is $200, magmax is $180. I would go, as you saw from the video, magmax all day, every day. The Glycerin Max is just a dead shoe to me. It has no energy return. I just don't like it at all, and it's a waste of money for $200. It doesn't do easy runs well. It doesn't do fast runs well. I just don't like it at all. But that one's got a 6 mil drop. All the other shoes are 8 or 10. But the difference in weight between the Glycerin Max and the magmax feels so substantially more, less weight in the Puma, just because that shoe feels so much more compliant, so much more full of energy return, so much springier, faster, just better in every way. Then the magmax and Vomero Plus are much closer. They're both $180. We have 47 and 39 versus 45 and 35, 8 mil or 10 mil drop. 12.39 ounces or 12.04, 351 versus 340. But as I said earlier in the video, the difference in feel between the two shoes is very substantial. I really feel a lot more of that explosive kind of bounce from this one. This has that little Easter egg there saying that they're bouncy AF. But I definitely experienced that in this shoe. It feels lighter, it feels springier than I'm expecting, and something about the geometry of this one just feels really smooth and excellent when I'm going through my stride. One difference with this shoe is the Zoom X foam in here is very, very bouncy. I would say it's actually bouncier than the Puma shoe, but it's more direct in the way that it bounces. Like when it lands, it just kind of wants to go. Whereas the Puma shoe kind of gets into the bounce and kind of leads you through. I really like the fit of the Puma shoe better. It's a little bit more narrow in the toe box. If you need a wider shoe, the Vomero Plus has more room in the toe box than the Puma does, but I like that this fits me a little bit tighter. That fits my foot a little bit better. And then the Superblast 2 and Megablast are kind of in a different category than the rest of them, weight-wise. The other three shoes are all over 12 ounces. This one is just over 10 ounces, and this one is actually under 10 ounces in a size 12. So for having, they both have the same stack here, 45 in the heel, 37 in the forefoot, 8 mil drop. being around 10 ounces in this shoe and less than 10 ounces in this shoe is really impressive with that high of a stack. You can see just compared to their peers right there, they're a couple ounces lighter, and that's really noticeable. When I went from the Vomero Plus to the Superblast 2, those 2+ ounces less really made a big difference in the way that this shoe felt immediately when I put it on. And then it also made a difference in the pace that I was running and the way the shoe felt as well. Again, this foam, the Flight Foam Turbo Plus, is a firmer foam, way less bouncy than both the magmax or the Vomero Plus. Those shoes have a lot more bounce, a lot more energy return than Superblast. But this one, having that firmer foam, it really has a lot of like snapback to it. And the shape of this one too, the geometry, I think just really helps me to turn over my cadence and run fast in it. So again, if I'm looking to run a long run with some speed in it, it's an advantage to this one because it's not as soft. This shoe is also $200 for the Superblast 2, and the Megablast is the highest price of any shoe in this category at $225. So initially, at first glance, looking at that, I'm like, that's a lot for a training shoe, but I do think you could actually use this for racing. Someone asked me after my last video if I would use this shoe for a marathon. I would consider it. I have to try this out for a longer long run, like over 10 miles, and see if it still feels propulsive to me. It doesn't feel too soft when I really put a true long run into the shoe. But the thing that I wasn't expecting that happened with this one was I ended up with the fastest time of all the shoes. But the last mile at the Superblast 2, I knew I was running fast. It felt like I was feeling fast. The shoe felt direct. It felt responsive. I felt like I was digging in and just pushing off, and the shoe felt fast. When I was running in this one, I was feeling a little tired. I wasn't feeling as strong. I didn't feel like I was running as hard. I thought I was going to be slower than the Superblast. And then when I finished that mile, I beat it by like 10 seconds or something. So I was very surprised that I was feeling tired and not like I was putting as much energy into the shoe, and this still made me run the fastest of the group. It's the lightest and has a ton of energy return from this Flight Foam Turbo Squared. So again, advantage this shoe for energy return over the Superblast for sure, but I really need to match them up for a long run. I've done a lot of miles in this shoe. I know how this performs for me on a long run. I got to see how this is going to treat me over those longer miles, but I really appreciate the upper of this shoe is that really thin mesh that you would get in a race shoe, which is one of the reasons why it's lighter. It also has Asics laces with the teeth here, which is what they put on the Metaspeed model, so it has the racing laces as well. The tongue of this and the Superblast are pretty similar. This one has a little bit less padding than the Superblast, so it's a lighter upper than the Superblast. This one's a little bit more built up. As far as the heel counter goes, this actually has some nice padding on the inside, so I get a really good heel lockdown from this shoe. And looking at the outsole, it's pretty similar between the two shoes. So what is the best shoe in this category? Well, that really depends on what you want to use it for, but it's not this one. Enough with that shoe. But basically, I feel like these two shoes are very close. If you want a supportive, bouncy, comfortable ride, comfortable upper, I really like both of these shoes. I kind of just like the geometry of the Puma shoe, the way this one feels better. So for me, I'd pick the Puma over the Vomero Plus if I was looking for more of a max cushion daily shoe to be comfortable, do mainly slower miles in, but can pick up the pace a little bit. I just like the feel of the Puma more. I think these are both very good. They're the exact same price, so it's really a matter of preference. I think this one has more of an explosive kind of bounce to it, where this one has like a smoother kind of feeling to it. So if you like that crazy bouncy feeling, I think this is your shoe, but this is the one that I prefer between those two. If you want to run fast in a high stack shoe, these are two of the best options that are out there at the moment. The Superblast has been a consistent performer. A lot of people really enjoy this shoe. This one's brand new. Not as many people have run in it yet. The midsole foam feels very, very different. So if you really like the Superblast 2, will you like the Megablast? I'm not sure, because it's a very different feel. But if you've run in like the magmax or the Vomero Plus, or a shoe that has that softer, bouncier foam and you like that feeling, this definitely has more bounce, more energy return, feels more assistive than the Superblast as far as bouncing you along goes. But then the flip side of that is, since the shoe's a little bit lighter, it feels a little bit squishier, feels a little bit slower to turn over. Like I had to sink into the shoe to get the energy return, whereas this one's just kind of moving on to the next step with a quicker cadence. So I would say if you're a quicker cadence runner and you like a firmer feel, advantage Superblast. But then I also can't really argue with the results there. I was the most tired, didn't feel like I was trying, and this shoe is still the fastest of the group in my last mile. So that's a pretty impressive result for this one, where I felt like I was trying with this shoe. I didn't feel like I was trying with this shoe. I was really tired, and it still was the fastest. So to further subdivide this, if I wanted a max stack shoe for comfort, for easy runs, for long runs to just cruise along, this would be my winner of the group. If I wanted a max stack shoe for speed, tempo runs, long runs with some pace in it, I think this would be the winner of this group. But then this shoe is kind of like a combination of what's good about these two shoes. It has the bounce of the magmax and it has the lightness and the speed of the Superblast. So is this the best of the group? These two shoes are both tried and true to me at this point. I have a lot of miles in both of them. I know what to expect from them. This one's still pretty new to me. I've only got a couple runs in them so far, but they are very much impressing in these initial runs. So I do think that the Megablast is the best shoe overall in this group. Just giving you that racing fit, the lightweightness, the energy return, the comfort of the shoe is really, really excellent. But to me, again, it's a little bit harder to run slow in it. It feels a little bit more unstable if you run slow. Kind of similar to the Vomero Plus, just because the foam is softer and bouncier. So for like, if I wanted a max cushion shoe for daily runs, slower runs, I think I would actually choose the magmax. Then again, this one's good for fast efforts, but this one proved it can kind of split the difference between the two. So I think if you like a firmer feeling shoe, it's the Superblast. If you like, if you're looking for a max cushion shoe for comfort, daily miles, slower runs, it's this one. And if you want a shoe that can do both really well, that's where I think the Megablast has the advantage here. So let me know your thoughts on all these shoes that I just compared today. If you had a similar experience on them to me, or you had a completely different experience and you think I'm completely off base, one thing I'm hoping to do this weekend is put a real long run into this shoe and see how it performs for me over a longer effort. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.